I have been talking to myself a lot at work. It's kind of crazy. I've been thinking about my love story. What and what I actually what happened to me from the older me to now. I have I have made many bad decisions. I have also learned a lot about myself in the process of my couple years of being in relationships up till 3 years ago, because I've been single for 3 years now. Storytelling number part one. I won't say names, but this has to be one of the most, I say, impactful relationship of my life. I was what is it? Second year in college, sophomore year. I was 20 years old or 19. I met this girl. She lives about 3 hours out from my hometown. She's very beautiful. Of course, I was young. We're both young. It was a little bit of backstory. That year was also the same year that my oldest brother left to a different state. Then my older sister went to marry. So then that made me the oldest in the household at that time for us kids. I've always been like a A's and B students. I was probably your average Asian person, not too crazy, not nerdy, also not a failure. Long story short, sophomore year in college, 20 years old, I met this beautiful young lady about 3 hours away from my hometown. It started out perfect, like most relationships do. We fell in love. I fell in love. After a couple of weeks of talking, I drove to visit her. I made I believe 1,000 of those little tiny stars, paper stars. I put it in a jar. Each star has like a happy words or some kind of encouragement phrases written on the paper stars. And I did that because I wanted to ask her out. That was my romantic way of asking her out. Embarrassingly enough, she denied that I asked her out in the car. Before we went to the movie theater, I asked her. She said no, we should just be friends. I was like, all right, cool, let's be friends. I don't recall if she took that jar of paper stars or she gave it back to me. She probably must have given it back to me. I was disappointed already. I felt like, dude, this is so embarrassing. Now it's gonna be awkward. Totally rookie mistake. Things happens for a reason. We watch the movie. Nothing happened. We just watched the movie. I think it was like a double date because her friends and her friend boyfriend came as well. After that, we went to grab food. Your typical teenage like dating lifestyle at that time. Go watch a movie, grab dinner, come home. That was it. Nothing crazy. I think we walked around the shopping outlet mall as well for a little bit. And then I drove back home. Although I was disappointed and I started doubting myself. I was like, let me just keep texting her. So I stay in touch. Eventually, I think she started to like me. Then things took off. I think in this relationship, I'm just gonna talk about my side and my perspective of what happened. One bad thing about me is I'm a very jealous person. When I love somebody, I love them 100%. I know that my cons about me is that I get very jealous. I'm not very good at handling my emotion. Being young me made it worse. Short temper, jealous, and insecure. Things was good at first. Of course, my ex at the time, she was a very beautiful person. Naturally, she doesn't hang out with Hmong people. She hang out with Asian and some other races. You can already tell where this is kind of going. I think she played football at that time too. I went to watch one of her game. These guys walks up and hug her and all that stuff. I was like furious. I was like, why? They're friends. They're probably were just friends. Being me, I couldn't handle it. Let me pause for a second. For those guys out there, if you are somebody like me, younger me, you get jealous, you can't handle your girl being around other guys. You get very insecure. Do not go for a baddie, okay? Baddies will break your heart, bro. No matter how much you lie to yourself that you can handle one, you can't, bro. These baddies will naturally pull guys to them. Most of them, they like attention from guys. That's how they operate. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Going back to the story, that happened, and then I got mad. We argued a little bit. I drove home because I came there. I surprised her because I told her I wasn't gonna go watch her game. I couldn't make it because I had exams. I finished my exam early, and I drove 3 hours. I got some flowers. I got some stuff for her. I showed up at the game. Then I saw her. She didn't know I was there, so I saw her after the game. A couple dudes went up to her, hugged her, and all that stuff. When she saw me walking towards her, I think she kind of pushed the guys away and came up to me. Now, this is probably all in my head. Things didn't go so well. I was hurt, blah, blah, blah. I was telling myself stories that probably didn't even happen. That was a toxic trait of me. Now, after that, we got to talk it out. Things went back to normal. The reality was that I think after that moment, I couldn't trust her anymore. I keep lying to myself that give her a chance. She's fine. I still trust her. I love her, blah, blah, blah. That was me lying to myself. If you've been in a relationship long enough, when you start losing trust in somebody, you know that you no longer trust them the same anymore. You lie to yourself because you love them so much. You want the relationship to work. You try so hard to lie to yourself and your partner that everything is still fine. I still trust you. Right? You really don't anymore. You do to a certain extent. You no longer have the same level of trust and love. This is where things start to get toxic in relationship. When you start lying to yourself and to your partner that you still care or love them the same, when you were damaged and things weren't really fully communicated or fixed. After that, basically things got toxic. I was horrible. It got to the point where we both were suicidal. I was suicidal. I had a knife with me every goddamn night, guys. Like, my stomach. I had a knife pointing to my stomach every night. I got super short temper. That semester, I got straight C's. I almost failed all my classes. I almost punched my mom in the face because she was worried about my health. My mental health was, dude, it was down bad. It was down bad. I was like in the darkest place of my life that year. I was super short temper. I almost fought my siblings. I almost punched my mom in the face 100% of my force because she said something that triggered me. I remember what she said. I was so bad. I was suicidal every night. My parents were worried about my mental health. Being Hmong parents or Asian parents, they don't really know how to de-escalate the situation. They tend to add to it by saying stuff that triggers you. For example, when I was in my darkest time and I was suicidal, my parents would come and yell at me. They were like, "If you keep doing that shit, we're gonna call 911. We're gonna put you in jail, blah blah blah." Or they were like, "We're gonna put you in some mental therapy stuff." They say that they want to take me away. Like, that just add to my mentally messed up health already. I don't blame them. They were just worried about me. They didn't know how to express it. They didn't know how to help me in a way that would calm me down. Instead, they add more to it. I just wanted to kill myself every night. The only thing that stops me from killing myself at that time was my family. I thought about my siblings. I thought about my parents. I thought about me. Dude, I'm not disabled. I was born with hands, legs, feet, toes. I'm a pretty normal person, lucky. I have a house. I have family members that are still alive. I have parents that are both still with me. I have such a good opportunity to come from a third world country to the US for a better opportunity. Why would I waste that? That was my thought process every night when I was gonna kill myself. I'm pretty sure my ex at the time had it worse too, because she was by herself. She didn't have siblings. She only had her parents. So I'm pretty sure she had it way worse than me. Me being young and stupid and short-tempered, I didn't help at all by acting the way I did, by being stupid. Before I continue, I want to express some love to her parents, because when I was with her, when we were still healthy, I would visit her. Her parents would take us out to the malls. I remember for one of her birthday, her parents invited me to go with them. Her parents even told me to invite my siblings to go to their birthday celebration with them. They took us to a Korean barbecue place. Her parents paid for everything. All we did was drove there, celebrate, eat, and then go home. Her parents were great. They were amazing people. I was just a bad boyfriend. There was this one time where we went to the mall and I was broke. I was a broke college kid. Her mom gave me $60. My siblings also went with us too. I think her mom gave me an additional 40 to say, I know you're young, you don't have a lot of money. Take this money and spend it on you and my daughter. Give it to your siblings so they can buy something too. I loved her parents. Her mom was so nice. I fumbled. I was just bad. Man, I feel horrible. That's the thing that I thought about it. I'm like, dude, when I first made my 100K at my previous job, I was like, if I could meet them again, I would like to give back to them. Obviously, because me and that ex left on horrible terms with us being suicidal, it wouldn't have been good. I'm happy she's doing better. I'm happy that I'm not with her because I was a bad partner. We're gonna cycle back to when I was suicidal. Hmong parents, they aren't the very best at, especially if they're OG, they came from Thailand or from Laos to the US, they still think very traditional. They don't have a way to help their kids calm down the situation. They tend to add to it. They call the kids stupid. That's why there's so many suicidal, there's so many bad things that happen to kids these days, because when they go through something like this, the parents don't know how to express the love to the kids. I think my mom was provoking me so much. This one time, we had a family meeting because everybody was concerned about my health. They had texted family group chat because everybody was afraid of me because I was like literally like a walking death wish to people, to myself too. They texted, hey, you should come out. We should talk. I was like, cool. Let me finish my homework and I'll come out. I went out. The moment we sat down, I think my mom was so tired of my mental breakdown. She was like, if you don't stop this, we're gonna take you in jail. African American people will anal you. She said that in Hmong. Immediately, that triggered me so bad. I stood up. I was eating a banana too. I was like doing this. I was eating a banana. She said that to me. It triggered me so bad. I stood up. I slammed the banana down. I walked up to my mom. She was sitting down. I literally full swing. Right before I hit her face, I stopped right here, bro. A couple inches away. I was like, I stopped and I started shaking. I broke down and I started crying. I was like tearing up. Because I think at that moment, it woke me up. Because I was like, dude, all my 20 years of my life, this person in front of me that I was going to punch has sacrificed everything for me to be here. For me to get to where I am now. I'm really going to punch her? I stopped myself. I dropped everything. I went on my knees and I started crying. Everybody was scared. When I cried, I think when I started crying, everybody was crying too. Because I broke down. I think they were so afraid that I almost punched our mom. Dude, it was insane. I think that really woke me up, because right after that, I just stood up calmly. I stood up and I went back into my room. I closed the door very gently. For that night, I cried. I cried all night. But that night, the reason why I cried, it wasn't because of the relationship anymore. It wasn't because of my suicidal thoughts. It was because that I was no longer me. I was this person that was literally not living anymore. I literally almost punched my mom. I was crying because I felt bad. I was like, dude, what am I doing, bro? That was so horrible. I think after that, I recovered. I was like, the next day, I was like, I'm so stupid. Why did I think like this? It's funny now because I'm laughing. At that moment, I was like completely insane, dude. If you guys were around me at that time, you'd probably be scared. Anybody would be scared. That morning, I took the knife on my desk. I took the knife. I put it back in the kitchen. I cried more. I cried some more because I was relieved that I didn't kill myself. I was happy. I was crying now because I was happy that I didn't kill myself. I was happy that I stopped myself from hitting my mom. I was happy that my siblings were still here. Everybody still cares about me. It was hard for me because then I was the oldest in the household for that short moment. things were going on so much. I had to take my siblings everywhere too. I was like sleepless. I couldn't sleep. I was mentally fucked. I couldn't study. I couldn't do anything. I feel like, I feel like I was a burden to the world. I picked up the phone. I called my oldest brother. I'm like, bro, how do you do this, bro? Because he was in Minnesota. I call him. I was like, yo, how do you do this? Because it's so hard for me right now. I asked him. I was like, if I were to die today, would you drop everything and come see me? He was like, that's such a dumb question. He was like, why would you ask me that? I just want to know, would you? He was like, of course I would. Like, no matter how far I am from you, I will always put my family first. And I think when he said that, I started crying, bro. My eyeballs rolling out, bro. We were just crying. I couldn't say anything. He couldn't say anything too because we were just crying so hard. After like 15 minutes or so, we stopped crying. That's why I'm like, thank you for this talk. Although we rarely talk, I think that small conversation I had with him saved me. It brought me back to my other thoughts that has kept me alive for that week or a couple weeks of me being suicidal. And I was like, it's not as bad as I made it was. Like, I was just overthinking. I was just being stupid. I was just being dumb. I was just being completely insane. I think one of those nights when I was suicidal, my partner was. I think there's this one night we were both crazy. I think this one night she hung up the call on me after we were threatening each other about killing each other, and then I got so worried. I got so scared. I picked up the phone and I called her mom. Like, thank God her mom picked up the phone. I was like, can you go check up on her? We argued. I kind of told her a very brief explanation of the situation, that we were both suicidal. Her mom handled it professionally. She didn't yell at me or anything. She did tell me that we should stop talking because it's better for our health. Her mom was very cool. Her mom was very calm about the situation. After that, I think we stopped because I was like, I came back to reality. I was like, dude, why would I do this? Because if I don't stop, we're both gonna continue doing this. If I don't stop, I'm gonna die. She might die. Our parents don't deserve this. Right? Our family don't deserve this. We deserve more. We deserve to live to our fullest. I was like, we should stop because it's getting out of hand. I woke up to reality and I was like, dude, what are we doing? What am I doing? I made this situation so bad, dude. I was like, we gotta cut it. So we did. That happened. We're both alive. I think I learned so much from that because I was like, dude, I would never ever let myself go that low or go that dark anymore, because I seen the people that cared about me. I seen the people that don't deserve to see me end my life like that. It's not worth it. I have so much potential. Everybody has so much potential. One more interesting thing is that night when I called her mom. Before I called her mom, I prayed to God. I don't believe in God. I sometimes do, which is kind of stupid. I prayed, please make sure that she's alive. If she is, I want you to punish me for the next 7 years of my life. I cannot be in a relationship. That was the curse I put on myself. I was like, keep her alive and you can punish me. I think part 2 to this will be even more interesting because I did get into a relationship. Here's why I think that the punishment was the karma I deserved. Because my next relationship after that one, I kind of deserve what happened to me. Again, I think part of it is still my fault. As somebody who went through a phase in my life, in my dating timeline, I went through quite a bit. I know there's worse out there. I know there are people out there that went through worse. They face bigger challenges than that. For those of you that are going to go through or you're thinking about suiciding, please don't. There are people that care about you. You have a lot more in you to live to your fullest. It's not your time to go. So fight it. Fight those demons. Don't let it take over you. Live, because you never know what the future holds for you. That's it.